face.
Yeah. Here we go, y'all. All right. Everyone came on to see Chris's face. So look, we got another video here. Kyle's not going to make it, but guys, this is Chris. This is Mr. White Walker, Mr. I'll change your name to whoever you are when I'm playing you and double hexing you, Mr. I'm in Puerto Rico living it up right now. This is Chris for those who don't know. And so yeah. Chris, introduce yourself.
How's it going, y'all? And just for the record, the only reason why I did that was because you started that congratulations, you won thing before anybody even started playing on my team. So you got me to that level, and I warned you. I said, "Hey, be careful. You don't want to see the other side of me."
You won.
Who won the matchup?
Yeah, it didn't work. I lost.
Oh, but you totally won the name off or whatever you want to call it, whatever was going on there.
Yeah.
Dante was in our commish chat, like, how do I change it back? I screwed up. I don't want to be this forever.
I know. I tried to play along and it didn't work out, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it, and then the sleeper fixed it itself the next one I got on my the desk. Anyway, look, here we are talking about me again. But I will say, I had to, you got Diggs. We did the Diggs trade, and so I wanted, the first game I had a little something extra for you, but obviously we'll be playing many more games, so it'll be fun.
Most definitely. We're the opponent. Tip my hat off to you, man. Good job.
All right, so yeah, man, let's do some current news. I know, and just now we don't have Kyle here to complain about talking about what everyone else is talking about in the news, which is a big Nick Chubb injury. That's a great guy. Everybody loves Chubb. Horrible injury if everyone saw it. Omar, I know, tell me what you think about that. Just not only as the player, as a man for Chubb and how you feel about that, but how that works out for Cleveland moving forward.
No comment. No, I'm just
I was like, why are you picking on Omar for that? I feel like that's
no. I mean, honestly, Nick Chubb, what kind of sucks is, I love the Georgia running backs. I love watching Georgia play and seeing their running backs. Todd Gurley, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb was actually playing before Todd Gurley, but then he had his knee injury, and then Todd Gurley took over. So he's a great running back, man. Probably one of the purest to do it. And yeah, I mean, at his age, same knee, all three ligaments. We'll see what happens. I hope he comes back in general, just as as a person to play the game of football. But fantasy wise, I mean, you just move on, man. And right now, I'm just waiting for Kamara to come back next week for my squad. And how that changes it is it's going to be a two-back system in Cleveland. What?
What's the finger for?
What's the finger?
No, it's not going to be a two-back system. He's just.
I mean, it's going to be a two-back system. I mean, I still say Jerome Ford takes the bulk of the carries, the bulk of the workload, but Kamara is going to get involved. I know people who own Kamara are going to say, no, he's the real starter because that's what we do. But, there's a reason why they let Kareem Hunt go and kept Jerome, and had Jerome Ford there. Again, I don't think realistically, 65-35 split. Maybe towards the end, it balances out more depending on how Kareem Hunt is. But I've noticed all these running backs that have been sitting out and come out, they're out of shape. They take a few weeks to get going. I foresee it's kind of like a holdout. Holdout players always take a few weeks. Look at Josh Jacobs, 9 points back-to-back weeks. Looks terrible running the ball.
No, it's good. Chris, I saw you shaking here. What do you think about that situation? Chubb, Cleveland, all that.
Well, ask him why first. Why does he disagree?
Why do I disagree? Because who is Jerome Ford? I mean, listen, in all honesty, I think Jerome Ford is a decent player. I agree for a few weeks. It'll probably be 50-50 split, especially week 3. You'll see a little bit more Jerome Ford. But as the season goes on, it's Kareem Hunt's job. I mean, he's been successful. I'm sorry?
Do you have Kareem Hunt?
No, I do not.
Who does?
I think Gilbert has Kareem Hunt.
I thought it was Jacobs.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to. All right.
Yeah. Oh, you thought I was gonna.
Yeah,
I thought it was you too. I thought the same.
No, sir. No, sir. But in all honesty, look, Kareem Hunt, he's shown that he can be successful in this league. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's got speed. Most of all, he knows this offense. He's been there before, so this is not new to him. So although it'll take a few weeks to acclimate him, I think it's only a matter of time before he is the full-time starter for the Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
I actually agree with you. I think the reason that they went with Jerome Ford over Kareem Hunt wasn't because they thought that Kareem didn't have any power left. It was strictly money. You're going to pay Nick Chubb. You're going to have a solid rookie running back that's going to come in with some fresh legs and then help him out a little bit. Now they have to pay him the money.
Correct.
Because they absolutely need him. And they're going to say whatever they need to say to make sure Jerome Ford doesn't lose confidence. They're going to need him. They need him to be their future running back. He is going to be their future running back, but I see him filling in a spot for the first few weeks. Now, if he's got the hot hand and he just does incredible, then I'll reevaluate in a couple weeks. But I'm not thinking he's like my QB. I mean, my RB2 for the rest of the year. I think maybe for the next few weeks, and then have to see.
Yeah, I just got to see more too. Jerome Ford had one big run, and he did great with what he had, but I got to see more. I'm with Summer. I think it was a money play more so as talent wise.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I went heavy on Fab on him in every other league that I was in, and I got him in every other league that I'm in, except for the one that we're in.
You spent your entire waiver wire.
Yeah.
Sorry.
One of my leagues I had with Summer, I dropped my whole waiver budget on Ford. So I'm completely in the opposite direction. He will struggle in the beginning because the next 4 games are brutal. His schedule is really bad. But Kevin Stefanski came out today and said that he's the number one. The reason why Kareem Hunt is still didn't get signed until 3 weeks into the season is because he's done. He's washed. He lost a step. They were in New Orleans. They didn't sign him. He left to go to the Colts, and they didn't sign him. He's washed. Now, yes, Chris, I agree. He does have a leg up. He's going to go right back to his own role because he knows the system. He played for Kevin Stefanski in this role before, so he will be their third down back. But I like the 65-35 that Omar said earlier. Jerome will get all the first down work, and I think he's going to get the goal line work as well. I think, Summer, you're selling yourself short. You got an RB2 for the rest of this season.
Where I would disagree with you is that, remember, when he went to New Orleans and Indy, both teams offered him a contract. He didn't sign because he felt that the money wasn't there. So it wasn't that they didn't believe in him. They just didn't want to pay him the bag that he wanted. And probably most could say for some other teams that were running back needy. In this situation, he signed, obviously, his back is against the wall, and Cleveland paid him the money. I think it's $4 million, up to $4 million this year. So
that's actually that's a veteran minimums contract with incentives of $4 million. And I would argue that because there's a difference for when a guy goes for a visit and he goes for a tryout. When you go for a visit, like Dalvin Cook, they already know what you are on the field, and it's just about, is this a fit? But they made Kareem Hunt try out, work and run, and see if you still got it. And that is different. I guarantee you when this numbers come out, it's a minimum contract, which is what he is. And it's if you get 8 touchdowns and whatever else, you can get up to $4 million. But I bet you it's a veteran minimum, which is like 2.1 for him or whatever it is. And he's not going to be the RB1. But we do a gentleman's water bet on that one. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Let's get this.
He signed a 1-year deal. Has been reported that the deal is worth up to $4 million. So
so vet minimum.
It doesn't say what the guarantees are
he'll
yet.
come in around $2.5 million with the chance of earning $1.5 million in incentives,
which is more than Elliott got. I mean, I think Zeke got like $1 million guaranteed, maybe a tiny bit more than $1 million guaranteed.
I don't know. This contract is a veterans minimum running back deal, and it's just incentive laden. He needs playing time. He needs touchdowns. He needs yards to even get close to that $4 million. It might be like 1.25.
Elliott got
Elliott got the 1.1 something.
$3 million base salary and a $1 million signing bonus that can be worth up to $6 million with incentives.
All right. Well, Cleveland did have $55 million because they just restructured Deshaun Watson's contract. And we can go about Deshaun Watson. Let's do one more topic because I know we're running for time before we get to Chris's power rankings. There's a lot of this Justin Fields stuff in the media. Y'all been seeing this, Justin Fields blaming the coaches or whatever the case may be. We can talk about Fields a little bit in that Chicago situation. Summer, what do you think about that?
I have no comment. I don't know. I haven't had the opportunity to click on the articles and like really read through them or anything like that. Not the last couple of days.
Here's what happened. So, Justin Fields obviously hasn't been playing too well, and and we can find something else to talk about something, but this is why you should be leading these things and giving us the topics. Talk about Molly Karam. All right. This is what you're here for. All right.
Well, what I was going to say is like, all I know is the sound bites that are the titles of the articles. I do feel like there's the Nick Chubb injury, and then anytime a quarterback goes against his coach, it's going to be big news.
Yeah.
Essentially what he said, though, just to paraphrase, was that the coach has set up a game plan and he has to think about everything they're saying and he can't just play, is pretty much his paraphrase. He's just saying he'd like to just be able to play football, but he's overthinking everything. And it's, he says it could be because of coaching. I mean, look,
I agree.
Honestly, Justin Fields, I know Ohio State quarterbacks don't normally do that great in the pros, but Justin Fields in college was actually, a hell of a passer. He was also known as to be one of the more accurate passers when he was coming out. So I don't disagree in the sense of they're probably not letting him be him, but at the same time, it's poor taste to outspokenly say it's about the coaching. But I'm a personal believer, and I've said this to you, Chris, a million times, with quarterbacks, systems matter. Having a coach that plays to your strengths is important. Look at Zach Wilson with Nathaniel Hackett. It's not going to work out. Why? Because Nathaniel Hackett is built for Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers only, like just to use that as an example. Look at Tua with Brian Flores. Flores didn't want him. They got a coach that wanted to work with him. And, right now he's the betting odds MVP. Not saying he's going to be, but he's the betting odds favorite for MVP. So I think having a coach that believes in you is a huge difference, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree with everything you said. I just think it's a cop-out because as a quarterback, you are the leader of the football team. You are the captain. You are the voice. You are the image. And although all of what he's saying is true, like you said, that's the laundry that you don't air it out. You got to be one team in that locker room. You deal with all those problems inside the locker room. To the outside world, you guys, everything is peachy cream. And for him just to sit there and just try to blame the coaches, again, I just think he's trying to save face for himself and putting himself over the team. So as a quarterback, I wouldn't want my quarterback out there talking all that jazz.
Yeah. Like the one article that I saw, it sounded like he was trying to walk it back where he said, okay, I got all this data in my head and I just got to go play football. And then he realized that sounded like he was blaming the coaches for overloading him with data instead of letting him do his thing. And then he tried to walk it back and be like, no, that's just I'm realizing that I'm allowing that to overshadow, my football acumen or whatever. I think it was just a maturity thing. I don't think he was throwing the coaches under the bus. I think behind the scenes, they probably had a conversation, set things straight, and the media is going to talk about it because they don't have anything else to talk about when it comes about the Bears. So
as long as it's not about the Cowboys,
we'll hear enough about something.
Sorry, but ESPN is overloaded with Cowboys news. Come on.
They can't get enough of it.
It's like that every single year, though. Yeah. Like you kind of have to. As a Cowboys fan, it gets frustrating because I'm like, just shut up. Just let us play. Stop with the noise. Let the players do their thing without having to be in the spotlight all the time. It's frustrating. Not everybody does well in the spotlight like that, with the pressure of being the Cowboys and having the star on your helmet and stuff. I want people to shut up about it so that we can have a good season and I can enjoy it. So
you know why you can't? Because Jerry wants it this way. He wants to be out there like that. He's got deals with all the ESPN exec. Come on, man. This is what it is. He wants it.
I have a general football question. At what point does the name and the label lose its lust? The Cowboys haven't done anything in the 21st century. Their last Super Bowls were in the 90s, you know.
When the Cowboys move up north to Wisconsin, then it'll lose its lush. Right now, we've got
I don't mean
all
the
of
Cowboys
South
in general.
Texas
I
to
just
the south of the U.S. and Mexico, and as long as they are making money,
I just mean like
and as
how
long as there are children being born into Cowboys families, there will be a massive Cowboys fan base.
okay, I'm just saying, not Cowboys in general, is how long can you ride it? I mean, the 49ers haven't won anything either. Granted, I know that they're doing good now, but they haven't won a Super Bowl in how long now, Dante?
1 year before the Cowboys, but we've been to 2, and we've dominated playoffs, and our team and organization has ran much better, and blah, 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 blah.
But you see, like, 49ers don't get all, greatest franchise ever, you know? Sorry. It's just,
But we are, though.
Like,
Well, we are.
well, no, not greatest.
Yeah.
But you guys are good. You guys are a good organization, but not the greatest right now.
The greatest. Better than the Cowboys, Patriots, I don't care. Green Bay, all of them. You'll see. When it's all said and
Definitely
done.
not the Dolphins and definitely not the Bills
The
right
NFL
now.
is over, you'll see.
Hey,
You'll
Chris,
see.
it ain't us. You know that. It ain't us right now.
Definitely not.
All right, let's get into Chris rankings. Let's do this. All right, power rankings, a la Chris. Let's start from the bottom and go to the top.
All right,
What
we'll
you got?
start from the bottom. Mind you, this is for this season, not so much going forward. Okay, so at 12, I got M. Brell. Not much to say about this team. I think there's a rumor that this is Mark's second team, aka his farm system team, and he's going to be using this to better his team later on. My sources haven't confirmed this is true, but this is what I'm hearing in the rumor mill. So if you're out there, Michael, if you're a real person, please show yourself.
Please stand up.
Stand up, right?
Hey, let us know that you're not tied up in the basement somewhere.
So my next guy at 11, I got Trader Joe's. Man, it's a bad time to have Bengals on your team. You know, we're looking at his team, and the Bengals are struggling. Aside from that, if you look, there's not a lot of depth. I mean, the only bright spot right now that he's got on his team is TJ Hawkinson. He's also got now Alexander Madison, who, I mean, with Cam Akers, where does that leave Madison? I think that drops him. So I think he's going to have to make some moves.
Hey, I gotta interrupt real quick. Omar, your brother took over that team from Joe Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he's made any moves that have bettered his position?
Well, I actually just wanted to ask Chris one quick question.
Yes, sir.
What is the date of your rankings?
The date of my rankings?
Yeah, like is this before last week? Is this from this summer?
9:20 at 8:37 p.m., sir.
Well, then I mean, it's gonna sound biased, you know, defending my brother, but he has more points scored than me in fantasy right now. He's one of the, you know, top scoring teams in the league, even with a bad Joe Burrow. That team is producing. I'm not saying he needs to be top 6, but to be second to last.
Yeah,
He was the top scorer this last week.
He was and I
Here's my
know the
thing.
clock can be right twice a day, but
I heard Dante say that
he scored the most points. He scored the most points, and his best player, Joe Burrow, hasn't even produced yet.
Look at Omar standing up.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say.
I'm not. I mean, I know it's my brother, but he knows me. I'll talk bad about my brother and his fantasy team if it's deserving. I just don't think he's deserving of 11.
You got to bring him in one time, Omar. You got to bring him in.
Look,
okay.
We'll do it like this. Joe Mixon hasn't done anything. Doesn't look like he's gonna do anything. Alexander Madison, gone. Rashid Shaheed, gone. Jerry Jeudy, we spoke about this. Jerry Jeudy hasn't done anything. So I'm looking at this just long term, not just what have you done the first 2 weeks. It's early. There's teams that are going to upperform. Michael Burrell won a game. That doesn't mean that, you know, his team is great. So, again, I understand what you're saying. I think you're being a little biased because it is your brother. I think just a little bit.
I mean, I'm just
The
saying.
only thing that I'll say in Omar's defense is, like, I think so Michael was the top scorer this last week. and two of his like top scoring positions were the defense and the tight end, and nobody really relies on their defense or their tight end.
And
So
Kirk Cousins.
he really can only go up. And the people that he has on his team have such potential. I feel like it's kind of a mirage right now. It's
Kinda
not
like
as bad as what it looks like, and it'll only get better. So I agree. Not 11, maybe not like 3, but not 11. That's all.
I definitely don't think
11,
he's
that's
top.
fine.
I don't think he's top 4. I mean, I wouldn't. I haven't looked at the rankings again to do it, but again, I'd probably just, if I was throwing a dart, 7 or 8 is where I would probably rank him.
All right.
But it's fine. Continue. I apologize.
Chris's rankings, okay?
I agree. Yeah, that's what I said. This is Chris's rankings. All right, number 10. Who we
Number
got?
10, I got Bed Bath and Bijan.
Okay, that's Gilby, ain't it? Oh, Gilbert.
Yeah, that's Gilbert. That's Gilbert. And
How much
honestly,
did Gilbert pay you? Out of curiosity, to rank higher than my brother, how much did he pay you?
Look, if it makes you feel better, they could be interchangeable, okay? The next team, I want to, I apologize that I'm being put on the spot. I got you, Summer, at 9. You moved up a little bit. I see you did some moves with Dante over there, and honestly, I think you had a really solid team. I think the only reason why I put you there is obviously you've had the injury bug. I have never seen anything like this.
Every year I've ever played with.
Ask Dante and Kyle. This is every
year. Every single year.
Single year.
I know.
I did. 5 years.
You mentioned that earlier before the season even started and said, hey, this was going to happen. And sure enough, I mean,
when I draft somebody that they have in another team, they get pissed. They're like, what the hell have you done?
I jokingly call her the Salem witch or all that other bullshit, but there's something about it. There's a, whatever Gilbert said with the dark arts and stuff. All in fun and in jest, though, Summer. We love you. But, okay, you got 2 at 9. What about 8?
8, I got Varsity Club.
All right, that's TJ.
Then followed by Senior Fiesta.
Oh, Kyle. All right. Kyle at 6. Talk about that a little bit.
Let me go to Kyle's team. I wasn't prepared to talk about Kyle's team. But
hang on 1 second. I want to scoot back a little bit. I just want to. I just like my deepest condolences to TJ for being in the top 3 total scorers for the week and still losing.
Yeah.
And then I whooped his ass in another league, so that was extra fun. It was like,
the other league we're in with him. Okay, I didn't know
that. All right, continue.
All right, Chris, you got Kyle's team?
Yeah, so Kyle's team, again, this is the hard part, right? So I think like from 7 to 3, everybody's kind of interchangeable. You got some teams that are stronger in certain positions than others and so forth. So, I mean, it's all like very minuscule differences between 7 all the way down to 3. I think he's got a very solid team, to be honest with you. So I don't really have anything negative to say towards it. He's got a very balanced team. So
all right, number 5, who you got above him?
Number 5, I got VIP Waddle Service.
Okay.
Well, actually, VIP Waddle Service is number 6 because I had Kyle at 7.
So we just missaid the number.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle at 7. Mark
right.
6.
Mark at 6, and then at 5 I have R. White and the 7 points, which is a phenomenal name. Obviously, he's got to change it now because Rashad White had like 19 points.
The first week though, he had 6.9 points.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Did someone do something to fix the like? What happened here? This was crazy. I was like, God damn, he got 7 points too, almost.
Right.
If it was 7 like 0.0, I would have flipped out. That would have been crazy. But all right, Shannon.
So I got him at 5.
Yep.
At 4, I have myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please explain. All right, now we got to get the breakdown.
Let's stop the podcast. This is a shot.
Yeah, I told him he needs to explain the top 3, but I feel like he needs to explain the top.
Oh no! Why do you not have yourself in the top 3 after I gifted you your boy Stephon Diggs? Tell me why you're not in the top 3.
Santeria.
Okay. It's very simple. Very simple. Omar and I have been playing fantasy football for a very long time, and I have been known to be a running back whisperer, right? every year I'm able to identify great value at that position, and all my predictions, not all of them, but I'm over 50% of my predictions happen, right? So like last year, I said, hey, Saquon Barkley, book it, top 5 fantasy running back. Everybody said I was nuts, and it happened. So this year, I said, I'm going to focus on receivers because I believe in my knowledge with the running back position that I can find them later. But when I'm looking at my team this year, my biggest problem right now is the running back situation. Look, we all know my receivers are probably, bar none, the best receiving core in the league, right? Not to toot my own horn, but just with Jefferson, Diggs, and Amon-Ra, I mean, that's ridiculous. But
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I want 10% of your fantasy winnings this year, by the way.
Yeah, but so far, I've struck out on Najee Harris. I've struck out on Antonio Gibson. And I've struck out on Cam Akers. Those are all 3 guys that I thought if they just gave me 10 to 12 points a week, I got one of the best teams in the league. But obviously, that's not happening right now. So that's the reason why I've dropped myself a little bit. I thought week 1 was just kind of, hey, rust, it's week 1. But I got the same thing week 2. So
okay, before we get to Omar, tell me about how you feel about Cam Akers in Minnesota. You got an RB2 now? What do you think?
So I'm excited. I think Alexander Madison has struggled. I think Cam Akers is a good back who just wore out his welcome in Los Angeles with Sean McVay. So I think it's similar to the Kareem Hunt situation. The difference is I do think Madison is going to be a little bit more involved than Jerome Ford is going to be with Kareem Hunt. But I do think Cam Akers will be the better back and eventually take over. But it might take 2 or 3 weeks. Remember, he's with his OC, I believe, that he had originally when the Rams drafted him as a rookie. So
okay, all right. He's got the same OC in Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell.
Right.
Kevin O'Connell was underneath Sean McVay,
right.
And he was there when they drafted Cam Akers. That's really nice there, Chris. I like that. All right, Omar's been itching. What?
Well, listen, Skip. I feel like you're just trying to make hot takes, to do it. I don't know. It's blasphemy to say that Alexander Madison is gonna get more work, in the backfield with Cam Akers, and then say that Kareem Hunt is going to take over the backfield after Jerome Ford literally carried the Browns into, keeping them in the game. But other than that, my real question to you is at what point do you start Jaylen Warren over Najee Harris on your team?
Oh man, that's a tough question. If I'm being honest, if you look at Najee Harris's numbers, right? So week 1, he averaged over 5 yards a carry. Week 2, it was 4.6 yards a carry. He's just not getting the volume. And listen, I know Najee Harris is not super efficient. What makes Najee Harris valuable is the bulk amount of work, and he's just not getting it right now. But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole offensively look off. If they figure that out, I think Najee's going to be just fine.
Well, yeah, that's
I'll ride with him a few more weeks. If by week 4 or 5, I still see that this is happening, then I have Jaylen Warren on my bench, and we'd make that move. But
it's called getting rid of Kenny Pickett.
That could be part of it. What do you think, Summer?
Well, to which question? There was multiple.
And we were talking about Cam Akers in Minnesota. His running backs looks like he's got.
Yeah. I'm going to skip the last bit of it. I've never been high on Najee Harris. I always thought that he came in at an opportune time and did what they really needed him to do, but I didn't see the follow through. I never ever had him ranked anywhere near the top. Like, I never had any intention. If he was there at the top, I probably would have still picked somebody 3 below him just for the value of it. Just haven't really been big on him. I think that the Cam Akers to the Vikings is way more impactful than Kareem Hunt to the Browns. Okay. Kareem Hunt to the Browns is a backup. Cam Akers to the Vikings is a cry for help. Like they need him to close games. They need him, and Madison was not going to give them that run game to, open up and make sure that the second pull in the secondary is first.
Everything you just said, I 100% agree with all that. As a matter of fact, they're going to find out Cam Akers is not that dude either, and they're going to be playing Dwayne McBride and Ty Chandler, and it's going to play all of them because Cam Akers is never good, Najee Harris is never good, and neither is Alexander Madison, in my opinion. And I've said that on previous podcasts, I think. And they're just not good running backs. They're like, and there's a if you can't work in a zone run scheme that Kyle Shanahan Zach
Sean McVay,
Zach, all these guys, they're all the same one, Mike LaFleur or whatever. They
come from the same family at the tree.
Really good games at LA like last season. He had a lot of really good games, and that kind of why they propelled him. But there's something about his attitude, or at least it didn't really work out with the Rams. And yes, Chris, I agree that Kevin O'Connell bringing him in, fresh start, all that kind of stuff. I just don't think it's going to really work out, neither with him or Madison. So they're going to be playing a lot of running backs there to try to fill it. Yes, with Najee, he gets that volume and he can catch. And Mike Tomlin likes to run with one running back. Those are the three good things for Najee. But he's slow, he's plodding, he does it. Something is a little bit off there, and you need that volume in order for him to maybe be an RB2. He has a very low ceiling and low floor.
Yeah, I just think when you think back, going with Mike Tomlin, I don't think you can name me a running back that they had that wasn't successful. I mean, even with Idris, you go back to Le'Veon Bell when he got hurt. They brought in an old D'Angelo Williams. He produced. Then it was James Conner. He produced. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on with these guys that in other teams might not have been as well. So, again, is Najee the most efficient runner? Absolutely not. He's a volume play. Like you said, Mike Tomlin likes to feed one guy. He doesn't like that running back carousel. I think it's early in the season. Hopefully they'll figure it out.
And with that wide receiver core, you're right. You get 4 or 5 guys. You just need 2 to play 2, and then you just do the rest. Let's go to your top 3. All right. Drum roll. Since we're on the podcast, we haven't heard certain names yet, so we kind of have an idea of what's going on here. Yeah. But let's play it out.
At 3, I have I had you, Dante, but unfortunately, with the whole Nick Chubb thing, I have to bring in Omar down a little bit just because that's a big
smart man
void that he's gonna have to try to fill. So
I was gonna say, if you had me at 1, your ranking stuck because I took a big hit.
Absolutely. And then obviously at 2, I have you, Dante. Simply because you beat me this week.
Yeah, yep. There it is.
Even though you played that cheap card that we like to call Santeria and stuff. Mr. Oh, you beat me. Oh, my team is gonna suck.
You know what? As a fantasy, I've used everything that I at my disposal: psychological warfare, spiritual, whatever. I will do all the mumbo, everything. The juju, I'm with it.
Whatever it takes. I would say this.
I like the honesty, at least.
I would say this. When post-draft, I didn't have you in the top like you had yourself. However, somehow, some way, I don't know what your trick is. I do sales for a living. This is what I do. You by far surpass me in your salesmanship because the shit that you get away with is crazy. And somehow you've turned these kibbles and bits into a nice little pot of gold. I don't know how you do it, but
Dante, is your slogan persistence beats resistance?
Look, guys, it is what it is. We can, it is what it is. I don't want to say too much about all that. So I can't give away no secret sauce. There's no free game here. I charge. I do actually fantasy classes, and I will sign all of y'all up. First one is free, and then we'll do a subscription service, about $100 a week. I'll put you on the game. How about that, guys?
$100 a week. Personal trainer's cheaper than that.
Winning every league would not pay his fees.
I'm gonna.
And your first pick is always a 49er in his fantasy tip.
Man,
he had the gall to tell me he's not a homer in
I have a
fantasy.
soft spot for my Buckeyes and 49ers. That's true. Any of those guys, but
You know what I will say, Dante? You've sent me a ton of offers. Some of them we've gotten into talks. Others I just flat out say no. But one thing I always appreciate is you're not one of those managers that gets angry that you were rejected in a trade. You just say, okay, you move on. And then the next day or a day after, you attempt it again. And it makes it easier to talk trade with somebody when they're not so, combative because you said no.
yeah, no, man, it's look, this is all fun. I mean, gosh, money is not in a consequence. We just do it because we love football and every different aspect of fantasy, especially, those who have been playing a long time, man. It's games evolved a good bit. And it's good to just meet and talk with good, chill people, 10, 12, 14 people. And especially when you do videos like this. But yeah, man, you don't sweat the small stuff. As Chris said, as a true salesman, it's you got to love to hear the word no. And no only means I haven't said the right thing to make you say yes. That's all that means. So I'm gonna try it until I get that yes. All right.
And so obviously, my number one, and it's crazy because when you look at the rankings, he's 0-2. I think this guy's just had bad luck, to be honest with you, but it's team clutch. I mean, this guy, when you look at his team, he doesn't have a weak spot, really. I mean, he's got great quarterbacks. He's got good running backs in ETN, Gibbs. He's got Mostert. He's got Kyron Williams now, which obviously is going to bump up his team. You look at his receivers with CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin, Zay Flowers, who I think is a great. He's a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got guys on his bench like Damian Pierce, who I know has struggled, but he's still a starting running back. He's got Adam Thielen, who I think, solid 2-2 well, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I think he's got the second most points scored against him. He's one of the highest scoring teams,
I can tell you right now.
Up there. I mean, he's just got bad luck. But when you look at his team, I think at the end of things, he's going to be up there. He's going to be one of the top tier teams.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier, but no, yeah, Jake, I agree. He's got a team that's uniquely positioned to win this year and in the next 3 to 4 years. He's one of the only teams that's like that. Kyle's got a team like that. Like, they can win this year, but they can also win the next 3 or 4. So that means drafted impeccably. Jacob killed the draft. And I've been playing with this. I don't want to give too much of his sauce away. He'll probably hate this, but I've been playing with this guy for 16 years in a fantasy football league. Definitely one of the best fantasy football players I've ever seen in my life. He's one of the only people that I go to for advice, and there's only like 2 or 3 people that
That's probably why you don't see them trade.
So what you're saying is instead of
trades, he just does it, in a certain place and time. But I've made many trades with him over the years, and he's probably won most of them. But in the long run or whatever, we have a keeper league that we're in. But no, he's a excellent fantasy football.
So what you're saying is instead of paying you for your trainings, we should just go to Jacob because he's the guru. He's the sensei.
I mean, you know what? But there's a point where the student takes over the teacher type thing. So, but yeah, no, I might have to get a little finder's fee in since I put that on. So you can go to him, but I need 10% of that.
He needs some royalties.
I'm always selling. I'm always selling. I always be closing. But anyway. No, it's. What do you think, Omar, about Jacob's team? Number 1 ranking.
Well, I just tried to trade with him today, and nothing happened. But I did mention to him that his team is really solid, really good, and that he shouldn't be 0-2. And his response was, "Yeah, man, he's not panicking. It's still early in the season, and his Jacksonville players, Trevor Lawrence and ETN, just need to wake up, and his team will be rolling."
What do you think about Jacob's team, Summer?
I just beat him, so.
Oh, loser.
Number 10. Beat number 1.
That's what she thought.
I think.
That's what she thinks about your number 1 team. How about that? Cash me outside. No, I like that. Well, that's what's up, man. Now I know we ran a little bit long today. We're probably at like 35 minutes or so, but hey, great pod, y'all. Let's wrap this up. I'll get this posted whenever it downloads and all that other stuff. And yeah, Chris, you have fun where you're at, man. It was nice meeting you, brother, and looking forward to this season and many more.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me on, and this was definitely fun. Love to do it again. And you're on with that water bet, by the way. Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We on with that water.
I gotta download that water wheel then. Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. Bye, Summer. Bye, you guys.
Bye, guys. Take
All
care.
right, buddy.